We are Divine Gin, and thank you for joining us in the tasting room this evening. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Ray, nice to meet you.
We're going to chat to you a little bit this evening about why we decided to make gin, how we created the brand, the botanicals. Obviously we're going to taste some gin with you this evening, and then we're going to have a little look in the distillery downstairs.
Yeah, we'll try and sort of dispel some of the myth about the gin making and what we do. It's not particularly difficult. There are some difficult parts about it, but it's not really as difficult as everybody thinks. If you've got the right machinery and the right know-how, you know, as you can see, most people can do it. But it is quite good fun, I must admit.
Quite a simple story really. We were at a party, a July the 4th party at a friend's house, and she said that her brother was investing in a gin distillery in California. After one too many drinks, Ray turned to me and said,
we're doing that.
We're
having a go at that.
Clearly I thought it'd never be mentioned again, said top my glass up, and that was that. However, the next
She wasn't
morning,
as polite as that when she said it though. There was a few expletives in there about not being stupid and who do I think I am and all that kind of stuff. But you know, it was 12 months, sort of 12 months afterwards, after plotting and planning and thinking about it, trying to figure out what to do. There was no gin schools around in those days, because we're talking probably, that'd be 5 years ago now.
2014.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, 6 years ago, so the first idea came about for us. First year kind of plotting and planning, looking at what to do and how to do it. Second year gaining licenses, trying to source stills and things like that. And then a year developing flavours. So it wasn't a 5-minute job. It took us 36 attempts at a recipe before we got anywhere near what we wanted to be. And there's a little bit of a story behind that, which we can tell you a little bit later as well. But it's been a good journey. It's been a very eventful journey. Would I do it again? I'm not so sure. But would I recommend somebody to do it? I'm not quite sure about that either.
What does perfect serve mean?
Well, it's what we think, and I get very nervous about telling people about perfect serves, because it's like, yet again, it's like with tonic. You know, everybody's taste is different. Yeah. You know, so people need a starting point to go from. So we say pink grape. We actually don't, and we'll go for strawberry. We'll go for something else. You know, there's certain things that I think don't work. Yeah. Which will steer people away from. In summer, we would have always gone for the strawberry, because you have a big pepper hit with Divine, and the strawberries and the pepper really played well off each other. As strawberries are falling out of season now, we're looking at using a pink grapefruit.
Pink grapefruit? Yeah.
You'll see how that really, the pink grapefruit, the spiciness of the pink grapefruit really works well with it.
Okay.
And Divine. We spent a lot of time, we went through all sorts of different garnishes, but I think you'll find we've always gone back to this.
Okay, so we're using the Mediterranean tonic still?
Yeah, still the Mediterranean. Yeah, we're keeping that the same. So the garnish, there's only one thing changing, but if you, as soon as this starts penetrating into the spirit, you'll really taste the difference.
How long do you have to wait for it to penetrate?
30 seconds.
Is there a big, because not everyone can get pink grapefruit, so is there much difference between a normal grapefruit?
Yes, a big difference.
Is there?
Yes, a big difference.
Tell me more.
Yeah, this is better.
Is it? Okay. What, more subtle or?
Yeah, it's a lot more full of flavour. A lot more flavour. The normal grapefruit disappears. Okay, so the gin power's way over the top of it.
You're not doing it for diversity reasons.
No.
Let's get to it. Gin.
Gin.
Yeah.
The distillery is in the heart of the Home Valley, which is Home Firth in West Yorkshire. And for anybody that's been lucky enough to watch Last of the Summer Wine, or is old enough to have watched Last of the Summer Wine, it's a film location for that. Let's go down and have a look at the still now.
Here we are downstairs in the distillery. This is where the magic happens, supposedly. We've got 2 stills. This is our first still that we bought. Got this from Holland. It's an ice still. We distill through temperature probes at different points, which allows us to take off at different points and makes different our heads and tails cuts at different points. Condensation medium in here, which allows the vapour to come up from the bottom, condensate and reflux back down. This is a 50 litre still. This one is called Francis, after Rachel's dad and my mum. Not forgive us. But I was coming home every night having to redistill, selling it the following day, redistilling, selling. And I thought this isn't the way to go. So that's when we bought the 500 litre. We call this one Angel because we weren't allowed to call his drinks Angel, so we wanted to call this Angel. Let's call it the still Angel. 500 litres, exactly replicates what we do on here, just in a much bigger scale. If we do a full run, a sort of a 300 or 400 litre run, I'd set that going at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning. By the time we've got the heads, the hearts and the tails out of there, we do take a certain amount of tails off that we can re-put back into different batches. That's usually finished at about sort of 7 o'clock, something like that of the evening. So it's a full 12-hour cycle to get to do a run distillation. We then allow it to cool overnight and settle before we weigh it, get the density, to work out the volumes. It then all goes into one of the stainless steel tanks. We usually try to leave it to sit there for 7 to 10 days. It's not always the case if we're on a bit of a rush. 6 to 7 to 10 days before we then start blending it back with water to bring it to drinking strength. We use Shepherd's spring water, really crystal clear. I go up there every Monday and we use that for cutting back with. Great people up there and really helped us out a lot. Once we've got it to drinking strength, 40% or 42%, which is quite an arduous job to get it exactly right. We then move on to bottling, then into the stoppers, then we wax the tops, numbering and duty stamps then. So it's quite a lengthy process in the fact that there's quite a lot to do and there's only me doing it. Everybody goes on about how everything's hand done and everything. Now 99% of us are all doing that. But it's all, every bottle's touched by somebody. There's very people that are just whacking it through a big production line. I think most people are doing it on quite a small scale. We're sort of in the middle of it really. Each run produces about 300 bottles for us, something like that. We could run 3 times a week if we wanted, but we don't. We usually run once a week, either the London Dry or the raspberry. It comes down to here. So if we're using the raspberries, once we've done the distillation, the raspberries get dropped in there and left in there for 4 days. They're then taken out, all the colours leached out of them, but there's something that was missing. They didn't have that full, deep raspberry flavour for us. So what we then do is we then grind up, through it in a blitzer, all the rest of the raspberries, turn them into a liquid, put that back in, filter that through again before it goes into the bottle, so you get a real earthy, fresh flavour out of the raspberry rather than a sweet, sugary flavour out of it. We do add a little bit of honey in there as well to give it a little bit of sweetness, but the majority of the flavour is like a deep earthy freshness that comes out of the raspberries for us. So that all goes through the same system, but there's an extra filtration process in there to take out any excess raspberry that's in there. Right, here we are where we do the bottling. We've come from the stills over there, gone into the stainless steel containers here where they've sat for 7 to 10 days, all been blended back with the raspberries or whatever we're deciding to do next year. So then it's been filtered again, so to get the raspberries, but this is the final filtering process before it goes into the bottles. It's all done on a vacuum, so there's no actual mechanical movements in there. And then we can fill 4 bottles at a time. We don't fill 4 bottles at a time because I ain't got 4 arms. So it's usually a case of 2 bottles. So we're kind of 2 on, 2 off kind of thing. And then we then move on to the table here where it sort of moves around in the process. We've tried to make everything here kind of work in a clockwise environment, so that all the raw products are coming in over there to distilling, to blending, to bottling, to stoppers, around to the numbering and duty stamps and waxing and sealing as we move around there, and then out the same door that they came in. So it's not, we've tried to streamline it so that only one person can do it, and that's either me, and if I get in a rush, the lovely Rachel comes to help me as well. She's still behind the camera.
glass of stoppers. That's what Ray does with them.
Hi guys. Hard times at the minute, so what I'll do is I thought I'd show you around a little bit around how we make the Divine Gin and how we actually get it from the raw materials into the bottle. So what we're doing today is we're planting a couple of bottles for you. And we can have a look to see what's probably come out. As you can see here, we've got some of the early vodkas coming through here. Lovely crisp vodka out of there that we make out of the tails of our London Dry gin. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we've got a little bit of the London Dry's coming up over there. So let's go and have a look over there. They've been in some before Christmas, these guys. I'll just see. There you go. A little bit of muck on there. This is one of their London Dry's, batch number 73. This, and as if I'm not mistaken, I think we've got some raspberries in the bush already, ready to go. We'll pop up there and I'll let you have a look at the raspberries as well. Come on. Here we are at the raspberry tree. Come on, absolutely beautiful this batch, absolutely beautiful. See, we've got some drops straight away. The birds have been at this one, look. Look at that one. Somebody's been at that one, but I tell you what, because it's like that, we can have a little taster. Just for now. Oh, full of raspberry. Straight from the tree to the glass. Yorkshire beautiful. Stay at home, stay safe.
That explains it. Time well spent. Cheers.
So here we are, let's have a little chat about botanicals, shall we? Obviously we make gin here, we don't make anything else, just gin. So predominant flavour, juniper berries. Lovely juniper berries, yeah, a really piney flavour, and that is what the majority of the botanicals that go into all of our gin, and our gin and the third-party stuff that we make is predominantly juniper. Sweetness, we get them from this coriander seed, lovely coriander seed. What I'll do is I'll try not to tell you too much about the flavours and where you're getting those points of contact in your mouth. We'll do that in the tasting. So if you can piece together what we've got here with the different botanicals, we'll be able to sit down and have a look at where they're hitting the different flavour points in your mouth all the way through the experience. So we've got juniper, coriander, lovely. I think it's Bulgarian coriander. We are going on to English coriander, slightly more expensive, but we are going to switch on to English coriander. Cassia bark. Lovely. In India, I was speaking to some Indian friends of ours. Over there, it's called the poor man's cinnamon. Very, very similar taste. Angelica root. I sometimes forget all these. Angelica root. A little bit of orange peel. Cubic berries. These little babies here are grains of paradise. If we were sat together, I'd be trying to get you all to taste one of these at the minute. Some people do. Some people think I'm trying to kill them. It's not, it's just grains of paradise, really, really peppy, but really, really nice. A little bit of licorice powder, some orris root, and then some cardamom seeds. Now, I've tried all the different ways of piecing these together. These are the flavours that we've sort of come up with, the 11 botanicals. Cardamom, I can't really taste the cardamom in there, but the moment it's not in there, you know there's something wrong with it. You know it's not right. The licorice, we put very small amount of licorice powder in, but crikey, that comes through and gives a big hit in there.
Once you've got your recipe, you then need your brand, which turns out to be the hard part. At least it's the hard part. So anyway.
Making gin actually does end up being the easy part. Creating a brand and getting it out there and convincing people like yourselves to buy it, that's the hard part.
We started off, if anybody met us at the beginning, back in 2016, we started off with the Angel brand, and then obviously we're here now, which is what you might recognise. What happened in between?
What happened in between? We started off with Angel, and that all came around, as we talked about before, with the wings and our connection with the Air Force. We always kind of knew we wanted to have something with wings involved in it. So we started off as Angel Gin Divine, and we thought we'd cracked it. We thought, crikey, we're the next tankery, here we go, we're there. Lined them all up on a shelf in a local bar. I thought, fantastic, that's it, we're there. Went for trademarking then, and actually realised that there's a brand in America called Angel's Envy, a Kentucky bourbon, that's already got a brand with an A on it and some wings on it, and you can see the similarities, and I would probably be a bit annoyed if I was there. But they didn't create. They just sent an email when we put the trademarking in, saying that we've recognised that you've put this in. We aren't moving forward with anything, but we're just keeping an eye on it. And I thought, oh, look at that, it don't matter, does it? We'll be all right. Looked a little bit deeper into them, and they were owned by Bacardi. So at that time, a little company in Home Firth doing 35 bottles a week, and thought to ourselves, we best not take Bacardi on at this very moment. So then we had to have a change, we had to have a think about it. So we're always called Angel Gin Divine. So I spoke to the guy who helps us do our design work, and we thought, right, let's drop the Angel, because it seems that Bacardi owned it in the spirits world, and I think Robbie Williams owns it in everything else. Let's move on a little bit further, and we'll drop the Angel, and we'll go with the D for Divine. So we had the D design bespoke. Instead of the wings being straightened down, we crossed them over a little bit. To change the design a little bit, so we came out with a D for Divine, and changed the bottle. We were getting these bottles from France. They suddenly became very difficult, very hard to get hold of. Obviously, we weren't buying them in great numbers at that stage, so we went to a company in Leeds, trying to keep it as Yorkshire as we could, and we ended up in this bottle here with them, which they supply as fantastic allied glass. Start off with a copper D on the front. To sort of tie in the copperness of the stills, but then we kind of realised we weren't all copper, we weren't going down that road, so we thought, right, let's have a little think about it again, let's evolve. The brand's got to evolve, got to move on slightly. You think right at the beginning you've cracked it, but actually there's an evolution of things, of how things move on. So we then realised we wanted to take it to go a little bit more prestige, so we wanted all the branding printed on. And things happen I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason, so we went to our lads and said, we want to print our bottles, which you have to buy in some substantial numbers to get any sort of pricing on it, and they couldn't do copper. The copper was cracking, it wasn't working, so we had a little think about it, and we always had this gold in mind as well, so that's when we decided we'd change the D to a gold D. We went to waxing, we've waxed the tops, we've put sleeves over the top, but I think we've gone back to the gold on the top now, and I think we'll probably stick with that with the wax on the top. So we're now set with that. So we went from Angel to Copper D to Gold D, and then you never know where we go. And if you buy the London Dry, you'll always find an A imprinted in the wax on the top, and that's just a little nod back to the Angel days. Some people know it, some people don't. Creates a conversation, but that's how we ended up with the D, the wings, the Gold D, not the A.
2020 is certainly going to be a year to remember, and we all need a little bit of escapism at the moment. So Adam has created an original lockdown cocktail, which is a cheeky Divine ripple for us, and we're going to head down over and visit him down in Cheltenham now to see how Adam and Gaz have created it. Come and join us.
Okay, so we are in lockdown.
And we are going to make some cocktails from what we have in the cupboards.
Cupboards? Cocktails.
Cocktails from the cupboard.
Let's go.
For this episode, we are making a cupboard gin bramble.
Good. So what's in it? What's in it?
It is gin, lemon juice, sugar syrup, jam.
Berries. Orange? No. Blender.
Blender. Nice posh glass.
Ice. Ice. Say a bit of ice in the middle. Just ice, man.
Drink responsibly, drink well, drink Divine. Cheers.